What's going on here? Oh, wow.
Look again. How did security act so fast? What are they, psychic? No, the actual answer will blow your mind. That guard, Pierre Felix, was tackled himself by NBA security. But this went down in the 2022 NBA playoffs. In the first round, protesters crashed the Grizzlies-Timberwolves series multiple times. They targeted the team owner, Glenn Taylor, who owns factory farm chickens, to complain about animal welfare. So they glued themselves to the floor during the play-in game, then chained themselves to the basket in Game 3. But in Game 4 was a different plan. Buy tickets right behind the owner sitting courtside, then jump in front of him dressed like a referee, whistle the play dead, give him a tech, and scream in the billionaire's face. But how did the guard know the entire plan already? Well, Pierre Felix is maybe the only person in the world to pull this off. When Pierre was 7 years old, he lived on the poor side of Chicago, but got a new bike for Christmas. His parents told him, only ride it just outside of the apartment complex, because there was an unwritten rule to not mess with kids in their own parking lot. But one day, his friends took off to the park, but he disobeyed his parents and went with them. Pierre and his friends were joking, having a good time at the park. Then he felt something press on the back of his head. A voice told him, get off the bike, don't turn around, or I'll shoot. His bike was stolen, but it was the final straw for Pierre's mom. She moved the family to Minneapolis in 1989, and Pierre restarted his life with friends who loved basketball. They hounded team hotels, getting autographs from like the Chicago Bulls, but the Timberwolves were actually good with Kevin Garnett. So the friends pooled their money to buy one cheap T-Wolves ticket. Then a boy would enter the arena and sneak everyone else in through the side door. It worked dozens of times from the mid to late 90s until Pierre was 16 years old. One night they snuck in and local police were there to bust them. So the kids waited for Bob Goddard's head of security, knowing they were going to jail. Bob stormed in saying, these are the kids right here, these are the kids, and he let them squirm for about 5 seconds before pulling a stack of tickets out of his pocket. He handed each of the boys a ticket, telling them if they ever wanted in for free, just call the office and ask for him. The security had seen the kids for years walking around. They grew up there. They knew it was safer to be at the arena at night, not out on the streets. I could see Pierre was a good kid. He wasn't a guy that was gonna get in trouble. He didn't have the means to buy the tickets. I guess I felt for him. That started a lifelong friendship between arena security and the kids. So when Pierre turned 18, he was hired as a part-time guard at the visitors' bench. He made friends with Kobe Bryant and Chauncey Billups, but Pierre only worked for the arena, not the team, which is an elite position to get. He had to work as many as 6 jobs at once to take care of his family. But the arena boss used to be a cop who would watch Pierre bust shoplifters at his other job. It showed me he had an eye for remembering things and faces. When you'd have repeat offenders come into Macy's, he would spot them, conduct surveillance and follows, and make the apprehension. We would make the arrest. So after 20 years, Pierre got an official job with the NBA. He was traveling with the Timberwolves. They even trusted him to be personal security for the billionaire owner during the protest. During the Wolves' play-in game against the Clippers, a woman tried to glue herself to the floor with a shirt saying, "Glenn Taylor roasts animals alive." She was quickly removed to be disciplined, but was not arrested. She only got a ticket and was banned from the arena for 1 year. But for Game 2 in Memphis, a girl pretended to be part of the ball crew and chained herself to the basket. It only took a few minutes to cut the chain, and security dragged her out, where she was arrested and charged with trespassing and disorderly conduct. The protesters were from Direct Action Everywhere, who were upset with how Taylor handled a bird flu outbreak at his farms. So the night of Game 4, every guard was briefed. They got a packet with photographs of suspects who might protest. There was only time for a quick scan, but that was enough for Pierre. So he sat behind the home bench and watched the crowd. Then late in the second quarter, two women came down to their seats. One was wearing grass-stained shoes that were 2 sizes too big. Weird for $5,000 playoff tickets. Then they nervously passed a cell phone back and forth sending messages. The more Pierre looked, he was convinced one of them was in that pregame packet. But she was wearing a red wig to hide her natural blonde hair, but Pierre recognized that face. So he alerted the rest of security, and while they got organized, normally he faces the entire crowd, but he turned directly toward these women. His eyes stared right at them, never glancing at the game. So as soon as she stepped, bang, he was on her. She didn't even get a foot on the floor. Pierre literally tackled her in midair. After the tackle, Pierre reaches behind for his restraints, but he forgot the NBA doesn't have those. They only had those at Macy's. So he had to hold her down until backup arrived. Without Pierre's skills and photographic memory, that viral moment never happens. But it was insane how much media attention he got. Pierre was actually shocked how easy it was for reporters to get his email and phone number. He got hundreds of requests for interviews, but he turned them all down, even an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live. He just didn't want it to be all about him. Pierre was just doing his job and repaying that head of security who embraced him and his friends instead of sending them to jail. Even the billionaire owner loved Pierre. They got pretty close that week while Pierre was doing his personal security. It turned out that his job was to be security, but he ended up being lifetime friends with us just because of how responsible he took the job. After the media attention died down, Pierre was honored at the NBA's annual security meeting. He got a long-term contract with the Timberwolves and is even asked for autographs and pictures like he's a player. But he finally gave one interview and explained what the actual moment was like when he turned into a football player at a basketball game.
When it happened in real time, I didn't know that I caught her or, was able to restrain her like that quick. I thought it was less long. She ran on the court and then I grabbed her and took her down, but I didn't know that it happened that instant. And so I saw all the videos that started to come in after the fact.
I gotta be honest. I actually feel for those protesters because I am totally against any kind of animal cruelty, but this is not actually about the protester. It's about how Pierre's entire life led him up to that moment. Maybe the only guy who could have made it happen that way. So the guy who actually did the original article of this story is named John Krasinski. He wrote this whole profile about the Pierre Felix incident for The Athletic like a year ago. I actually made a short that got like over 80 million views, but there were so many people in the comments asking for more details. I wanted to make this video, but make sure to give props to John for his story because his reporting deserves all the credit. But my favorite video like this recently is about an earthquake victim who became a first-round NBA draft pick. His name is Skal Labissiere, and the way he made the NBA is amazing after his entire hometown was destroyed. Check it out.